Hello, and welcome to the Owatonna Today Show. My name is Betty Johnson, so glad to have you along on this beautiful Monday. It is the middle of the month, the 17th of June, and we've got lots of things going on here. And we do also want to mention, for those of you who might just be joining us, we can be seen 6 days a week on Charter Channel 8. Also, we're out there on the internet. We can be found on YouTube as well as blip.tv.com, and we're on Facebook. So if you do a Google search to find us, you'll receive a direct link to each new show on your Facebook page. And as always, we do welcome any questions, comments, or ideas you may have for guests or for shows. Just simply email us at owatonatoday@charter.net, or you can give our producer, Leanne T, a call at 390-5751. We've got a good lineup of shows for you today. We're going to be talking, in our second segment, we're going to be visiting with Jeffrey Jackson, who is the director of the Little Theatre of Owatonna's summer musical, Jesus Christ Superstar, and some of the actors. But first, we're also going to be talking with John Petersburg, who is a freshman representative, about the legislative session that just finished and about what he feels are his accomplishments. We're going to do that all on the other side of the break, so please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Jody Voisin with the staff at Fairview Animal Medical Center, your other family doctor. Fairview Animal Medical Center is a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Recreational fires are allowed within the Owatonna city limits. They must be contained within a fire pit or a device designed for such use, and can be 3 feet in diameter and no more than 3 feet high. They must be 25 feet from a building or combustibles. Only untreated or unpainted woods must be used. Fires must be attended by a person at all times that are capable of extinguishing the fire. This has been a safety tip from the Owatonna Fire Department.
Hi, we're Mark and Becky Stevens of the Owatonna Pizza Ranch.
And we support the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm Larry Ostermeyer, and I play Caiaphas.
And I'm Raleigh Kittleston, and I play Peter in LTO's current production of Jesus Christ Superstar, directed by Jeffrey Jackson and sponsored by the Winger Foundation.
Performances of Jesus Christ Superstar will be held Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd at 7:30 p.m., with a matinee on Sunday, June 23rd at 2 p.m.
And again the following Thursday through Saturday, June 27th, 28th, and 29th at 7:30 p.m.
Tickets are available at the LTO box office by calling 451-0764. Don't miss LTO's production of Jesus Christ Superstar.
We are back talking now with John Petersburg, who is just spent his first year up there at the legislature. How do you think it went? How do you feel overall? Were you excited or are you disappointed?
Well, you know, I was. There's so much to do that I really enjoyed the experience. The first couple of weeks you're spent just trying to figure out where you're going and what you're doing and how the committee system work and all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden you kind of get into this rhythm and you kind of know what's going on, and it's helpful. They have a great staff up there as well, and my legislative assistant, Gabrielle Sujian, is real good too. She's got some experience. So I didn't have to learn new stuff, but it was wonderful to be up there and to know that you're doing the work of the people back here at Owatonna, Waseca area, and it is kind of nice to be able to participate.
Do you feel it was a successful session for you personally and for the people of the state of Minnesota?
Well, I tell people that I really enjoyed the learning, and I really enjoyed the process, and I've really learned a lot. And so I was very happy and grateful about that. I wasn't always most happy about some of the outcomes. You know, when you're in the minority, you really don't get to participate in real decision making. If the majority party doesn't have enough votes for a particular bill, they usually don't bring it to the floor. So it's pretty well cut and dried by the time you get to the floor. What I found interesting was the fact that most real work gets done during the committee process.
And so, you were a member of 3 committees, right?
Correct.
Do you get appointed to those, or do you get to choose which ones you're on?
We get to put in a request for our top ones that we would like. And because Highway 14 was very important to me, I asked to be on the transportation committees, which I was. I was assigned to both transportation finance and transportation policy, along with ag policy because of my farming background. And so I'm really thankful to be on that. And I know that there's been a lot of questions in regards to Highway 14, a lot of people's frustration with why isn't it going faster, what's happening with it. But I like to remind people that there are a lot going on. We have a lot of roads that have to be repaired, a lot of roads that are being built throughout the state, and we can't give up. We have to continually work at getting things done.
Plus, there's a lot of roads in other parts of the state, too, that people, those representatives are going to be there saying, we need something as well.
Correct.
So you
Correct.
you have to divvy it up evenly if you can, and unfortunately, things don't move fast enough that way.
That is true, and but I would like to remind people of a couple of things. One is we know that there was a grant put in to the federal government for a 3-mile stretch from Highway 218 down to the railroad track, in which we hope we get federal dollars to finish that within the next few years. And so that hasn't been approved. We don't know for sure, but it's one more thing that we keep working on. Of course, we know about Destination Medical Center in Rochester and the large dollars that's going to go over there. And I believe that that's a positive for us because they're going to want good arteries, transportation back and forth. And this stretch from 35 to Rochester is a key piece. So I think that's another positive that we can use to really help 14 along.
Well, there are sections that are done. We just have to kind of connect them, right?
Right. There's one connection in the middle yet that hasn't been done. Obviously, that's from Dodge Center to Owatonna. And then back to the other side, over to the west, Mankato to New Ulm. They really would like to have that done too. There's a lot of truck traffic there, a lot of trucking firms and stuff in that area. So those are the two sections of 14 that are really scheduled to be finished sometime in the future. And my job is to keep it in front of the public and keep it in front of the legislators. And
I'm sure you're going to get reminders from your constituents too,
absolutely.
Because that is a major thing.
Absolutely.
It's been going on for how many years, did you say? 50,
well,
60 years?
I graduated from Claremont in 1970, and we were told then that within 10, 20 years it'll be done. And so that's 45 years ago almost. So it's time for it to be finished, and we're going to be grateful when it does get done.
Well, it is so widely used.
It is.
It's got to be. Now, your other committee that you were on was, you said, was Ag?
Ag policy, right? And that doesn't do as much work, although I do have to admit that sometimes the best legislation is legislation that doesn't get done. So there were times during committee in which we brought up, specifically me, a particular bill wanted to increase the fees for some of the written materials for pesticides and insecticide control, and I asked why you needed to have them increased, and they said, well, to cover the cost of replacement. And further discussion, I said, I think with electronic availability and other things that people are doing online all the time, it may be not necessary to have as big a cost. And so they went back, looked at things. The University of Minnesota was doing most of it, agreed. And so there's not going to be any increase in those particular fees coming forth. So I think that's positive.
Well, for those of us who do not live on a farm, what is it that the state can actually regulate as far as policy for the farmers in the state of Minnesota? What all does that cover?
Well, it can cover anything from pesticide use, insecticide use, herbicide use, all of those type materials. The federal government is very much involved in land use as well, and there are a lot of water issues that can be done that is being regulated. The ag environment and ag finance, for example, really is spending a lot more money now on water quality and water permitting.
Is that the state or federal?
That's
or both?
state.
Okay,
that's
because
state.
Federal, we know what they're doing or not doing, but it's the one with the state, where the state comes in. Good.
Yeah, the state actually at one time the bill included almost a triple the cost for water permitting, so farmers and municipalities and so forth would be hit with a much higher cost in order to pay for some of the monitoring. We were able to get that out of the bill at this point so that it stayed pretty much the same. Water is still a very big concern, and we don't want to underestimate its importance, but we need to also do it within our parameters of what we can afford as well. So.
Now, looking ahead to next year, what would you like to see as a whole the legislature accomplish?
I think for next year, it's our bonding year, so we will be looking throughout the summer as well for the particular programs and areas that need some bonding dollars. We know that the capital is going to need another significant amount of dollars to finally be able to appropriate dollars to finish the remodeling, which is a massive undertaking. But we also know that there are other projects around the state. Both Rochester and Mankato would like upgrades to their civic centers, and other communities in northwestern Minnesota have some issues that they would like to deal with too. So I expect there to be a lot of discussion about bonding for next year. There may be some things that we have to tweak. I would love to see us tweak a little bit more of the taxing policies that we passed this last session. We have some very, I think, overreaching and very regressive taxes that went into this last bill that I think are going to be devastating that we need to deal with. And I'm sure there'll be some information in regards to the health exchange that'll have to be adjusted as well. So there'll be a lot to do, but it's going to be a shorter session. We're not starting till February 25th.
Why the late start?
One, because the biennium and the budgeting is done. The election year tends to be less because of that, so it usually starts later. But this is even later than most.
No major controversial issues probably coming up that would take time as well?
Well, yeah, there's going to be a couple. I think, I believe that they will be bringing up a bullying bill for education and other forms.
You think that'll be controversial?
Yes, not that we are interested in bullying,
right.
but it's the parameters and ramifications of what it could entail.
Proceed, yes. Mm-hmm.
But probably the bigger one is going to be the minimum wage.
Okay.
Which we think will be coming up as well. So.
And what is the minimum wage at right now?
Right now, depending on the size, it's in the mid $5 range.
Really?
The federal government is at $7.25, and the belief is that the legislature, at least the DFL, had wanted to go up to $9.95. I think they're going to come back with that a little bit, but that could be very devastating for a lot of our smaller employers, and it's going to be devastating for our high school students because they won't be able to get jobs. So.
Well, no matter which way you look at it, you're going to have a top job ahead of you regardless.
It's going to be a very interesting event. Yeah.
Well, we're glad you stopped by today to fill us in, and we hope you'll stop by again as we approach the time, and you can give us more of what's going to be happening, because there's so many things that involve all of us that we do need to hear what's going on.
And I would love to stop in, and because I believe really my whole point of my being involved is to communicate back here to the people here that elected me. So I appreciate the opportunity.
And we're glad we can help.
Well, thank you.
John Petersburg, who has been our representative this past year at the state legislature. We're going to take this break. When we come back, we're heading over to LTO, and you won't want to miss that, so stay with us.
Hi, this is Dave Efforts with TPS Insurance, and we are proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
I didn't just want another job, I wanted a career, so I expressed myself.
I was new to town and I didn't know where to turn for a job, so I decided to express myself.
I decided to express myself, and they helped find the right career for me.
Express Employment Professionals is in contact with thousands of companies in need of quality employees. Come in now and get the job you deserve.
Express yourself today.
Coda Living Community and Park Place Senior Living are Owatonna's premier living communities for seniors. Coda Living Community, located on the Owatonna Hospital and Mayo Clinic campus, provides short-term, long-term, and rehabilitative care. It features private and semi-private rooms, ceiling lifts, and spa. Coda Living Community continues the tradition of providing quality care to area residents. Park Place Senior Living is expanding into the Cedarview Care Center to offer enhanced assisted living. For more information, please call 507-446-4946.
Hi, I'm Doug Johnson with the Owatonna Business Incubator. We're here to help small businesses start and to grow. We're a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm Ron Clancher with Clancher & Son Landscaping and Concrete. We support the Owatonna Today Show, and so should you.
Thank you for joining us on location here, as you can probably see, the Little Theatre of Owatonna, where they are busy rehearsing for the musical Jesus Christ Superstar. It happens to be Andrew Lloyd Webber play. He is iconic in the theater, and of course we have the director with us, Jeffrey Jackson. Glad to have you along, Jeffrey.
Well, glad to welcome you to Little Theater.
Now, first of all, I have to ask you, why Andrew Lloyd Webber? Do you have a particular affinity for him, or just that musical in particular?
Not so much Andrew Lloyd Webber, though I love Andrew Lloyd Webber, but mainly this musical. This is a musical that I first heard when it first came out.
Early 70s, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, way back then. And, you were 12, right? I was 12.
Very young, yes. And the music is familiar as well, too.
Yeah, the music was incredibly familiar, and I love the music, and actually I've wanted to direct this show ever since I was in college, which was back in the 70s as well. So it's just one of my favorite pieces, and when Little Theater offered me the opportunity to direct it, I grabbed it.
This is the first, I believe, Andrew Lloyd Webber production that is the LTO has done.
To my knowledge, yes,
so
it is.
You've got, I know the high school did Joseph a few years ago, but this is, so maybe we might see something like Phantom coming along pretty soon?
My wife would love that. That's her favorite, so she would love that.
Now, Andrew Lloyd Webber's always has wonderful music, but they also have large casts. Was that one of your biggest challenges?
That was one of our biggest challenges. In fact, we originally had anticipated that we were going to have 50 people in our cast, and just in order to fill every spot, we reduced that. We have now about, I think, 34 members of the cast, and many of the chorus members are playing multiple roles in the show because of that. But I'm glad we didn't have 50, because I'm not sure we would have found places to put them all.
And the set itself is very large, as you can see. It
is large. We even built a second stage to be able to have as many different levels so that we can really paint a pretty picture for the audience.
Who was your set designer?
Our set designer was Mark Kukluk, and Keith Wolenhouse did the actual set construction along with his crew. He was the chief of our set construction crew.
Because that had to be just as equally as challenging.
Yeah.
As a small stage.
I told Mark, I said, this is what I've got in mind. Can you come up with something? And what I had in mind was nowhere near as complicated and as beautiful as this. And he came up with this, and I just went, wow.
Okay. Yeah. It does look great. Now, as far as cast members, were you a little concerned about getting the right members for the principals? Because, they play Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene.
And Judas, they are all very, very demanding roles. And fortunately, we have got an incredible cast. And the guys who are playing Jesus and Judas, and the woman who is playing Mary, their voices are fantastic. I've been in several musicals myself, but I could not do what they do. That's how good they are.
And you've been in rehearsals for how long?
Well, actually, we had auditions in early April. Then we did 3 weeks of just pure music rehearsals before moving here to the theater in early May. So we've been at it for 2 months now.
And of course, you couldn't do it without a tech director either. Who is your tech director?
Sandy Hardy-Hagen is our tech director. This is the third show that Sandy and I have worked on together, and she's fantastic. Bev Cashman is our music director, and we've just got an incredible. We have a crew behind the scenes working in one way or another of probably 75 people.
Well, you've got those costumes and the makeup and everything else too, so it's all got to come together.
It all does.
By opening night, and when is the opening night?
Opening night is Thursday, June 20th.
And then it will run through that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so it's the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd?
Actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the next Thursday, Friday, and
Saturday, Sunday. Now, and there's a matinee on Sunday, the 23rd.
Yes.
So, I'm so excited to see this. I'm sure as the whole Owatonna
well.
is in the theater community to see Andrew Lloyd Webber, and we thank you for taking on such a challenging musical to do.
It's a wonderful experience.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to be talking with some of the principal actors in Jesus Christ Superstars. So stay with us. We are now speaking with the principal actors, and of course, if it's Jesus Christ Superstar, the principal actor, of course, is Jesus Christ. And your name is?
Tim VanGelder.
Have you been on the LTO stage before, Tim?
I have. My first production was The Unsinkable Molly Brown a couple of years ago, and I played Johnny Brown at that time.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question I ask everybody when they come out for something like this. Why did you come out for this particular role?
Well, I've always enjoyed musical theater, and it's a fun musical. There's some great music in it, and I just thought it would be a great opportunity to be involved with the Little Theater again.
What do you find most challenging about this particular part?
I think the most challenging thing is the fact that everybody knows the story, and everybody, yeah, and trying to portray that in a meaningful way and a way that is, I don't know.
Something that's going to probably resonate with everybody.
Exactly, and to make sure that is there.
Now, it's such a large cast that you have here. How was the interaction? Are you on just about every scene, I imagine?
Yeah, I have a couple scenes off, so that's always nice to go get a breather. But it's been great interaction with the cast. Jeffrey has a great vision of what he wants the stage to look like when everybody is on there, which is a great thing for a director to have.
So you've been on LTO stage one other play. Have you done any theater anywhere else?
Yeah, I started my own community in Orange City, Iowa, back when I was 9, and I've kind of been doing it ever since then. So.
Were you familiar with any of the music before you auditioned for the play?
My wife and I rented the movie a couple weeks before auditions.
So the answer is no, then, right?
Not at all.
Well, once you heard it, though, did it sound familiar to you at all?
It did. I recognized some of the songs, and it was just very catchy music and something that really you pick up pretty quickly.
And for a lot of the theater goers as well, they're definitely going to recognize some of the music. So, and we wish you, break a leg as you get on Jesus Christ. We're now speaking to Judas, and your name is?
Jonathan Davis.
Now, Jonathan, you were telling me this is your first time on stage.
Yeah, I've never performed on stage ever before.
That's incredible, never having done that, and then to audition for such a major musical and a major role. Why did you do that?
I'm sort of new to the community, only been here about 2 years, and thought it would be a fun way to get involved and meet some other people. And a person sort of informed me that this play was going on, and I thought, well, that might be kind of fun.
Kind of fun. Yeah. Now, do you have to do any singing in this particular part? Does Judas have a song?
Yeah, I have, I think, 7 songs where I'm one of the primary singers in it.
So you've probably done a lot of music. You sang in choir and things like that?
I did just a little bit of choir in college, but I'm a trumpet player, and so I've done a lot of instrumental music, but not a lot of singing except for in my car. So
you can read music, so that definitely helps.
Yes, I can read music, yeah.
So you are new to Owatonna, and what is it you do here? Where do you work?
I'm a pastor in Owatonna at 2 rural country churches.
So you would probably be very familiar with the storyline.
Well, very familiar with the storyline, not familiar with the musical, though. Yeah.
So you two, did you go out and rent the movie to watch it?
No, I desperately searched YouTube for recordings of the music. So.
And it is great music, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic music. You can't not love it.
And a lot of people, we were talking before we were on camera that you weren't even born when this was first came out. But still, once people hear the music, I'm sure everyone will go, "Oh, yes, I recognize that." Was that your reaction too when you first went through the music?
No, actually, I really didn't recognize any of it, but it's been interesting talking to some other friends of mine, and they've all talked about how they've worn out their records of this, and so it was such a huge musical, obviously, when it came out. So
it was on vinyl.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And what do you find the most challenging about Judas?
The most challenging is he is sort of a tortured character in this interpretation of the Jesus story, and there's such a wide range of emotion that he goes from anger to heartbreak to... And there's a sense where even Judas feels betrayed in this story. And so sort of trying to reach those dynamics has been the most difficult part.
Well, I look forward to seeing this, and I'm sure a lot of people look forward to seeing Jesus Christ Superstar being performed at the Little Theatre of Owatonna starting on June 20th, Thursday, running that weekend, the 20th, 21st, 2nd, 3rd, 23rd is the matinee, the following weekend. So get your tickets. They're going to go fast. For Leanne Alt out of the Little Theatre of Owatonna, I'm Betty Johnson.
Hi, Warren Abraham, Abraham Consulting Technologies, your one-stop technology shop. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people. making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Hello, I'm Sean McNulty.
And I'm Deb Gillard with Brookdale Senior Living, Sterling House, and Clarebridge of Owatonna.
And we are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Glad to have you back. We do have some announcements we want to pass along. Busy week going on, lots of things starting. Beginning with Friday, June 21st, is going to be the movie in the park for the whole family. It's going to be Surf's Up. It's an animated feature. It is going to also have lots of concessions down there. They ask that you don't come until probably 8:30. There'll be things for kids going on pre-movie, but there'll be pop and popcorn. Bring your chairs and bring your blankets. And it should be a great time for the family. Again, that's this Friday, June 21st. The movie starts at 9:05. And also this weekend is the much publicized and highly awaited, eagerly awaited Minnesota Senior Games that is being hosted by Owatonna. Now, if you'd like to go and view some of those events, all you have to do is log on to www.mnseniorgames.com to find out the different locations around Owatonna where you can see a particular sport. Also, they still do need volunteers. There's between 300 and 400 people are going to be coming into the city for several days, so that does take a lot of extra volunteers. You can call 444-4321, and any little bit of help, I'm sure, will be greatly appreciated. Also, to celebrate the anniversary, Cannon River Watershed Partnership is hosting some paddles on June 22nd and 23rd. You're invited to join them for leisurely paddle exploring their wonderful waters. There's no cost to join. Unless you want to rent a canoe or kayak, but registration is required by the 20th. And that will be, again, for more information, you can phone 507-786-3961. And the Rescued Animal Coalition of Southeast Minnesota will host the Super Adoption event coming up. It's to meet rescued animals in need, and they're represented by 12 Minnesota rescue groups at shelters. It's June 22nd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Graham Arena Complex at the Olmsted County Fairground in Rochester. So if you'd like some more information about that, and they do ask that, to consider adopting a pet or being a foster parent if you can. Those are our announcements that we have for today. We want to invite you to join us on Wednesday when we're going to be down at the Steele Rice County's Dispatch Center. Very interesting to see how that is, all those calls are handled. That's coming up on Wednesday, so please join us then. Have a good Monday. For Leanne Alt, I'm Betty Johnson, and this has been the Owatonna Today Show.